So I just got back from New York and I wanted to tell y'all about how dirty the streets are there. I had forgotten how in Manhattan the sun has to peek through skyscrapers and curtains of smog vapors to shine down on little Maggie and Ben being walked across the street by their Dominican nanny who would rather be doing like 25 other things than tending to two little rich white kids with last names like Haywood and Grant and Duke and Rockefeller. But what's in a name? Like how ironic that in New York, Queens is a synonym for slum and Harlem for ghetto and Wall Street for money. Money runs the city. Numbers sit on thrones overlooking Puerto Rican poppies trying to raise their families, digging dishes to repair 50-year-old bank buildings where credit equals credentials, which are hard to accumulate in New York, the Big Apple, but what's in a name? Like, funny how Ellis Island means so much to so many, like the Civil Rights Movement or the Constitution, which really doesn't apply to this poem, because this poem is about New York, where rights are wrong and left is straight and backwards is sideways, and cops murder African students for sport, like 41 shots in Amadou Diallo, which sounds similar to Diablo, who was resurrected on the regular in New York, where crackheads had city council meetings in the Bronx behind Flatbushes in Brooklyn, where Malcolm X has his own street and Jackie Robinson has his own park, but what's in a name? Like, funny how my grandparents arrived here from Poland with names like Kluch and Klachowski and Chabanowitz and ended up with names like Green and Stein and Goldman and Silverberg because they're easy to pronounce and easy to identify. And funny how my grandparents were born in South Carolina with names like Umar and Kinte and Mandela and ended up with names like Johnson and Brown and Williams and Jackson. But what's in a name? I mean, in New York, there are Lucys and Lupes and Lakeishas and Caprices and Chens and Jens and Dorothys and Mildreds, and none of them stop to say hello on the way to the market. Meat stinks like skin rabbits dangled in restaurant window fronts in Chinatown, and yesterday's challah sold for $1 to the beggar who begs for a living, which is hard to come by in New York, where 60-year-old black men named Joe and Hank and Charles and George sing 4-part harmony through subways, holding out a hat, jingling priceless talent, voices thick, voices which wrote the blues and invented jazz and birthed rock and roll and created hip-hop. Voices belted from empty bellies and cold fingers snapping to a beat born in Zimbabwe as I get off the subway at 116th and Broadway, just in time to hear the blonde woman exclaim, "That Justin Timberlake sure can sing." Back on the street, the newest kids blocked sidesteps and Beach Boys were in sync. King, stolen songs, molesting melodies, hustling harmonies, lynching lyrics. Otis Redding rolled over twice. Because in New York, F.A.O. Schwartz owns Trump, owns Chrysler, owns Clyde Davis, owns Get Med, it pays, but not you if your name is Juan or Jorge or Tamisha or Juanita. But what's in a name like Nueva York, New York, the Big Apple, Gotham City, which never sleeps but always dreams, where no one knows your name but everyone's the same, because we all live in New York minutes like moments of time are cut in half, shoved aside, and trampled after souls left outside in the cold or sweltering heat, depending on the time of year, like winter, spring, summer, fall. I fell in New York's lap and didn't say excuse me, because no one apologizes in New York or properly introduces themselves like, "Hi, nice to meet y'all. My name is Gina, but what's in a name?"